Alright, so I'm making the first 5 episodes for Sakurasou no Pet na Kanojo, or in other words, I think it's called the Pet Girl of Sakurasou. I'm just going to give you a brief overview. It's basically a story about this guy named Kanada who's been put into this dorm room that's full of people who are considered misbehaving. So he's in this dorm mainly because he was keeping a lot of pets within his original dorm, and the people, I don't know who exactly pushed him out. Some type of supervisor pushed him out and he told him, you have to go into this dorm because you're keeping these pets in the original dorm and that's against the rules. So he got transported into the Sakura Hall dorm, and within this dorm there's a high cast of eccentric people that are completely odd but exceptional at a talent. In any case, the supervisor of the dorm is an art teacher. I think her name is Chichiro, and she has a cousin. And Chichiro asked Kanada or Sarato to go and pick up her cousin. And once he goes and picks up her cousin, I guess she is romantically infatuated with her. He finds her really attractive. But once Sarato sends her or picks her up and brings her to Sakura Hall, he then starts to find out that there's something really wrong with her cousin, Chichiro's cousin, whose name is Shina or Mashiro. And you come to find out that she's actually very odd in a way. I'm just gonna end it at that. She's very odd in the fact that she can't take care of herself, basically. So that's pretty much the overview. Alright, so now on to the predictions. The things that I did predict that actually came true was Sheena being soft-spoken. In the first episode, you do see her just talk like this and say that. Another thing I predicted was the fact that the Chichiro, who is the art teacher and also is the supervisor, well, she's the one who manages the Sakura Hall. I predicted that she was going to be amongst the age of 20 to 30, and sure enough, she was in the age of 29. Another thing I predicted was the fact that Mizaki was going to be very high energy and full of spirit and optimistic and stuff. She was exactly that. In addition to that, she was very obnoxious to the other characters. She would bother them, especially Sarato and the other male character that I just forgot his name. I'm sorry, guys. Another thing I predicted that actually came to pass was Cherry Blossom Romance. This is a scenario in which when a character falls in love with a person on first sight, there's this scene where just cherry blossoms fall out of nowhere, just fall out of the sky, and then the scene softens and becomes a little bit blurry, and it has a pink and whitish hue, and everything starts to slow down while the main character sees the person that she's sexually attracted to. In this case, it was Sheena. Now, the things I didn't predict that happened was fan service. I didn't think fan service was actually going to happen, but there was a ton of it. There was a lot of panty shots, there was a lot of cleavage, there's a lot of titties jiggling everywhere. I didn't predict that for some reason. Another thing I didn't predict was walking into nakedness, which is the situation in which there are characters that accidentally walk into somebody getting naked. And that two situations happened like that. I think in the first episode where Kanada walks in to see Sheena but naked, but she was like sleeping under like a pile of clothes. And then there was another scene, I think this was in the third episode or the second episode, where actually it was a reverse situation where Sheena walks in to see Kanado just taking a bath and scrubbing himself. Now, the things that I predicted but didn't come to pass was Comedy Fall and Love Polygon. Comedy Fall is a situation in which a group of people fall down in disbelief when someone makes a bad joke or pun, but it's a scenario where some type of comedy element happens and they fall down with one leg up in the air, and there was none of that within the anime. Now, another thing that happened that I predicted but didn't come to pass was Love Polygon. There wasn't a love polygon, but there was a love triangle between Ayoma, Sheena, and Sarato. They were all romantically interested in, Sarato or Kanada, whatever you want to say, call them. Now comes the likes and dislikes. Now for the likes, I definitely like the art and animation of this anime. It looks so good. I like how the shadows are. I like the effects. I like the colors that are implemented within the anime. I like everything about the art and animation. I also like the opening, intro, and the music. I think the opening and the intro and the music sounds good. I think it's one of the better opening intros or opening songs I've heard this year when I've looked through, when I watched a number of anime. I also like most of the characters within Sakura Hall. I like Kanata. I like the guy with the glasses who's like some type of player. He's like a pimp and he like has sex with so many women. I think that's funny. I like Mizaki. I think people would think Izaki is obnoxious, and I would generally be turned off by people who have high energy or optimistic. But for some reason, I like her. I like the art teacher. I like the art teacher because she's irresponsible in a way and still very sexy when she does it. I like generally all the characters, even Sheena, even though she gets annoying sometimes too. I also like the fact that everybody's good at something. I like the fact that the guy with the glasses with the gray hair is a great scriptwriter. I like the fact that Mizaki made her own animation even though she's still in college. I like the fact that Sheena is just like an exceptional artist. I like the fact that the guy that's not really mentioned too much, but he has like he's like a good programmer. He's exceptional at programming. I like that as well. And I also like the fact that there were moments where I chuckled. I mean, I didn't laugh out loud, but there was moments where I chuckled, and I didn't think I would chuckle. I think this anime would be very sappy because it had romance as a genre, but I actually chuckled 2 times within the span of the first 5 episodes. So that's pretty impressive because I thought it was going to be very boring. Now the dislikes I have is the writer's bluff. Within the 3rd and 4th episode, they were trying to make this attempt to shock you that Sarato was going to leave, but everybody already knew for the first episode that he's not going to fucking leave Sakura Hall because all the main characters are in Sakura Hall, and how are the writers going to completely just abandon the main characters that they were trying to flesh out and show them, and then just make him move into another dorm where he has to meet new characters? It was complete ridiculous. I already saw the bluff. I call that a writer's bluff, where they try to make it seem like the protagonist is going to do something extreme or something extreme is going to happen within the story, but doesn't actually happen at all. Another thing I didn't like about the anime is the pervasive sexual suggestions made by Sheena. Like, it was funny for the first few moments, but after a while you realize this is going to be a thing that always happens. She's going to use unclear expressions that might suggest that Kanata or Sarato was having sexual relations with her, when in reality she was saying something else. She just says it in very unclear and vague terms, and that's supposed to be the comedy element, but I don't really find it that funny once it gets overdone. Another thing that I don't like about it is Ayoma's anger when Sheena says these ambiguous suggestions that might be interpreted in the fact that Sarato is having sex with her or Sarato is in a relationship with Sheena. She always gets mad at Sarato, and it just bothers me because that's a common thing that happens. It's a cliche in itself. I don't know the exact name to give it, but it's a cliche in itself, and it just bothers the fuck out of me. Now, in closing, would I recommend watching this anime? I thought the anime was pretty good. There were some things that I didn't like about the anime because of some of the cliches that were happening and some of the comedy elements, because this is supposed to be the main content. The comedy is supposed to bring you or make you continue watch the anime. Those comedy elements sort of fell flat for me. In the first 2 episodes, it was a little bit entertaining, but towards the 5th episode, it wasn't really that entertaining, but I definitely was interested in seeing the progress of Sarato trying to become a game developer. I thought that was pretty interesting as well, but I think I'm going to continue watching this anime, and I think it's a pretty good anime. It's pretty good. I think there's better anime that have to do with school, comedy, and romance. I think School Rumble is like the better option of anime, and I know that came out like 2003 or something like that. It came out a long time ago. I don't really watch too much romance comedy, so I can't tell you what is the best of the best, but I did watch School Rumble before, and I think I really enjoyed that more so than I enjoyed this anime. But in any case, yeah, you can watch it if you want to.